Theory number 2, Balloon Boy solves a lot? Oh boy, it's time I talk about him. I don't know if you've noticed this, but 50 video...
What the f***?
Let's show them the best. Don't care if I make a mess. Let's show them the best. It's what you say, I become obsessed.
Hey, what's up guys, ImpulseEvan here, and today I'm going to be reacting to the newest FNAF game theory called 3 New FNAF Timeline Theories. So, I don't want to waste any time. I've heard this one's slightly strange, but that's just how these 3 theory videos work at this point. Even though I do enjoy them, the theories are a little bit weird, but yeah, let's just get straight into it.
Alright! New Five Nights at Freddy's book drop! Let's see what's new to talk about in the world of FNAF. Readers beware, you're in for a scare when Fazbear Entertainment unveils their most twisted creation yet, Sea Bonnies. Small blue fish with rabbit ears. When Mott drinks a tainted glass of water, tremble as they multiply inside his stomach and steal his identity. One cloned human made up of thousands of little blue bunny fish. Nope.
Story's great though, come on man. Sea Bonnies, nice.
Welcome to Game Theory, the show that asks, have you signed my petition to make me the host of Jeopardy yet?
2,000 years later.
Now, on to FNAF. You know the phrase jumping the shark? It dates back to an episode of the classic series Happy Days, which aired in the mid-70s and early 80s.
Jumping the shark, huh?
Rushed, running for 11 seasons and staying as a
That's for Fred's book 12.
show for 3 straight years. People loved this thing. Anyway, season 5, episode 3. At the peak of the show's fame, they do a special series of episodes where the characters all take a trip to Hollywood, and the cool guy in the show, the Fonz, is challenged to test his bravery by jumping over a shark on water skis. And as you probably guessed, he does it, complete with swim trunks.
Nice, good job, man.
It was a moment that was so ridiculous, so over the top, and so dumb that it single-handedly created the phrase that would forever after be used when a series loses all of its sense. At this point, FNAF, it's jumped all the sharks, just a big old shark sandwich, giant tower of sharks right there.
Pretty much.
The thing that would make this more sharky would be if it suddenly introduced a shark animatronic. They haven't done that yet, right? Right? Okay, well, there's still time. Those Bonnie get dangerously close.
I hate to break it to you, buddy.
The Fazbear Fright series has just released its penultimate installment, and it's weird. Tiny rabbit guppies that steal your identity. A pink substance called Fazgoo that hunts you down and steals your identity. Animatronics that body swap you in order to steal your identity. Huh, there's a definite pattern.
Interesting.
In these stories, isn't there? Could animatronics stealing identities and humans not actually being themselves be somehow important to the lore of the series? Certainly seems like the books are beating that point
can't
over our
be.
heads.
Come on,
Honestly,
man.
this points to a larger trend here. For as crazy as these stories have gotten, and believe me, they've really gone off the rails at this point, there's definitely still merit in them from a lore-solving perspective. Because, as I'm about to show
Where's
you,
Friendly
every
Face, man?
story about underwater rabbit guppies swimming around in your insides, there's another one or two that get you asking brand new questions about both the past and future of the franchise. So go ahead, take a break from eating your best friend that happened to fall into a vat of pizza sauce, something that, yes, also kind of happened in one of these stories, and consider the following 3 theories ripped straight from the pages of the books. Theory number 1, Chica started as a mediocre melody. In Fazbear Fright number 9, The Puppet Carver, we're told the story of Jack, manager of a failing...
Actually, I know what he's gonna say. I know what he's gonna say.
Yeah, it's not...
Yeah, I know exactly what he's gonna say. Because, like, Pig Patch, there was 5 mediocre melodies in The Puppet Carver. A bear was one of them, but there was also a Chica. And yeah, we're pretty sure it's the mediocre melodies because there's 5 of them, just like in the games, and now there's Pig Patch there. But yeah, there's also a bird one, and I'm guessing that's what he was going to say.
Actually a Freddy Fazbear establishment. And you see, that's an important detail since every other pizza place in the Fazbear Frights book series has tied back to Freddy's in some way. But for some reason, this one is deliberately different. What's also noteworthy about the Pizza Playground is the restaurant's animatronic band, which, we're told, breaks down frequently. These things are straight up busted. The roster includes a banjo-strumming country pig, a bear creatively named Baron von Bear, 2 other unnamed creatures that have already broken down, and a, quote, weird bird thing. Now, if the words banjo pig don't jump out to you, well, congratulations, you have a richer and more fulfilling life than I do, because when I hear that phrase, my mind immediately jumps to one thing: the mediocre melodies. The crew of broken animatronic rejects able to be purchased way back in FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator. A crew of animatronics consisting of a banjo-playing pig, an off-brand Freddy Fazbear.
You know, I never noticed that. Pig Patch has two different eye colors. Has that always been like that? Or is that editing? I don't know. I don't think it would be editing. Why did he do that? Why would he have done that?
Banjo-playing pig, an off-brand Freddy Fazbear ripoff with a southern accent named Ned Bear, a talkative hippo, a cute young frog, and an overdramatic elephant. They're characters that we all brushed off at the time because they just seemed unaffiliated with anything Fazbear related. And then they came back, returning an Ultimate Custom Night where they collectively gave voice to Cassidy, the one you should not have killed, as evidenced by voice lines like this.
Everyone underestimates me, but then they turn their back and I'm like, boo, and they're like, what?
Sorry, queued up the wrong clip. It's this one.
This is how it feels, and you can do it over and over. I will never let you leave.
You know, it suddenly occurs to me that maybe they were the ones that had to be Cassidy's voice in this game, because he's a spirit who's trapped inside Golden Freddy, a spring-lock suit who was never actually given a true voice box, whereas everyone else in the series was given a voice, at least at some point.
Well, he was given a voice box, considering at the first Freddy's, he was the main character for the first while before Springlock suits were decommissioned. He was the main character, so he does have a voice box. Otherwise, are they just on stage doing nothing? I mean, they're probably singing, right?
Also,
so, yeah, he does have a voice box.
Anyway, the mediocre melodies, a generic.
He also has a voice box inside him, though.
Plays the banjo, unnamed other characters that break down frequently. It seems like Pizza Playground's animatronics are indeed the mediocre melodies, which makes the call out of a weird bird thing being part of the band particularly interesting. Was Chica originally a mediocre melody? Chica has always been a bit of an oddball in the group. For instance, she's the only one to go missing for a game, specifically in Sister Location when she's the only one of the core 4 to not appear. And if you'll remember all the way back to the teasers for Sister Location, Chica's party world was listed in the source code as a separate establishment away from Circus Baby's entertainment and rentals. We also know that Freddy and Bonnie have been together since their literal golden days, which means that Chica had to have been a later addition to the crew. Maybe she was with another band of animatronics the entire time. I mean, even the theming makes more sense with the mediocre melodies. Something about chicken animatronic wearing a bib just fits better alongside a farm-themed banjo pig and bear with a southern drawl.
I see where he's coming from with that. I'm not 100% sure about that, but because Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica and Foxy were a band together before they were even characters at Freddy's, right? So I'm not 100% sure about that. It is a little bit weird. I do actually believe the mediocre melodies were the new suits that were used after Golden Freddy and Spring Bonnie were put out of service or whatever. After that, I do agree with that one theory that MapPad made a while ago, that the mediocre melodies were the new costumes, the temporary costumes. So they were technically the second mascots at Freddy's before Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy even began being used, and probably before the animatronic versions of them even existed, right? So I don't really think that could be the case. It would kind of make sense in certain ways, but I don't think so.
Kind of makes you wonder where Foxy the pirate comes in now, huh? Anyway, the reason I bring all of this up is that for a long time I've suspected that Chica is the key to the whole timeline of these games. No joke, I've literally had an email in my inbox for years addressed to myself reminding me to follow the missing Chica, since her coming and going from the lineup seems important, but up until now I've never had enough dots to put together in a timeline. We've known for a long time that she was the first to get stuffed with the little girl Susie. But now this story, potentially connecting her to the mediocre melodies, is yet another piece of evidence that we can use. So if you ever see a video titled Follow the Missing Chica, you'll know that we finally figured it out. Theory number 2, Balloon Boy solves a lot? Oh boy, it's time I talk about him. I don't know if you've noticed this, but 50 video...
What the f***?
goes into our FNAF series, and I haven't talked about Balloon Boy once. Not a single theory dedicated to that guy. Go back and check me on that, but I've intentionally avoided him, largely because he doesn't fit anywhere. His design is different, his behavior
I mean, you've mentioned
different.
him in some
Doesn't
theories,
seem
but
to be possessed by kids, and honestly, I've just never had a good sense of what to do with Balloon Boy in the lore of this franchise. Until today, in that same puppet carver story
Got
with the
happy.
mediocre melodies, we're introduced to Porter, the handyman who's supposed to be in charge of the faulty animatronics in the pizza playground. But Porter dreams of bigger things. You see, he's a bit of an animatronics genius, and his plan is to take wood and transform it into something alive. To quote from the story, "I'm almost finished with the prototype of my machine. It will create low-cost but highly functional animatronics made from only an inexpensive slab of wood." And not only is this guy a genius, he aspires to greater things. Quote again, "Once I get a patent on my invention and find a buyer, I'm gonna be out of here so fast I'll leave a dust trail." I mean, taking wood and imbuing it with the ability to move on its own, yeah, I'd say that's gonna earn you some quick cash. And here's the thing, it works. In the story, we see Porter turn a log into an actual moving character, no remnant or Fazgoo required. He flips a switch on its back and it just comes to life. They describe it as resembling the drawing models from high school art class, but specifically call out that were you to put the figure in a fuzzy suit, it would resemble a bunny or a fox or a bear, and you'd have a low-cost animatronic. In short, it feels like this story gives us a lot. First, reading the story felt like reading Henry's origin, a brilliant creator and animatronic inventor just looking for a buyer to partner up with to launch his career, a buyer maybe named William Afton? Seems to me that Henry was a college engineer with a great idea, and his earliest experiments were in the form of these living wooden dolls. This, in turn, explains both Balloon Boy and the mini-renas. Remember, the book described his wooden puppets as resembling the drawing models from high school art class, which, if you're not familiar, are these guys. That is why we have so many living dolls wandering around these pizzerias.
Oh yeah, Little Joe looks like that too. And yeah, mini-renas. I feel like that could fit with Balloon Boy, but he looks more like plastic than wood. I mean, it could just be wood underneath, but from FNAF VR, I think FNAF VR and FNAF AR, you could see that he doesn't have an endoskeleton. So yeah, I don't really know.
That don't seem to have spirits inside of them, only able to say basic words like
Hi. Hello.
In short, Balloon Boy isn't an animatronic, or at least not the way that we all consider animatronics.
Well, he is.
You know, living robots with dead children's souls trapped in them, infused with remnant, all that good stuff. Taking it one step further, this might even have timeline.
Yeah, that kind of does make sense, in a way. If, like, since he doesn't have an endoskeleton and, like, he's just hollow inside, it could kind of explain that. Like, if he's just made of wood, I mean, that kind of makes sense in a certain way, but it's also kind of weird. Whatever.
Implications. Wooden dolls appear in pretty much all the games currently thought to be the earliest in the timeline. FNAF 2, of course, with Balloon Boy, but also very heavily in Sister Location. On the main console, there's a marionette.
I thought you said earlier in the timeline. Why are you bringing up Sister Location, buddy?
Named Little Joe, a doll named the Magician, a gypsy figurine, and a series of human heads. Ennard's mask, Music Man, the mini-arenas, Baby, Ballora, even the puppet's face all seem to stem from this era of Henry's creations. It seems to me that the wooden dolls and marionettes were all designed as he was trying to develop the look and feel of the Funtime animatronics, leading up to the eventual opening and immediate closure of Circus Baby's Pizza World. As a reminder, Baby's Pizza World has never actually appeared in a game. Rather, we know that it exists based on hidden website text, and that it was closed down due to a quote-unquote gas leak, which is just PR speak for Afton's daughter getting nabbed by Baby. The character got retired down into the basement, which would eventually become Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals. The only game that happens earlier than these two is currently FNAF 4, and wouldn't you know it, that's also the only one without a Balloon Boy appearance.
Except FNAF 4 is one of the latest in the timelines. Because when we say a game... Because when we're talking about when a game takes place, we mean the gameplay. Not the mini-games. The mini-games are in 1983. The gameplay? Buddy, that's in 2023. Or at the absolute earliest, 1993. But 2023 is more likely.
Rather a questionably canon appearance, since Nightmare Balloon Boy was in it briefly as part of the Halloween update. Long story short, perhaps the appearance of Balloon Boy and the other wooden clown-faced characters marks the start of William and Henry's partnership. I know a lot of people tend not to believe me when I say that a lot of evidence points to Sister Location happening early in the timeline, but I think all of this is yet more fuel to that fire. And, well,
No.
We're on the subject of William. Theory number 3, William Afton is a stepfather. At the beginning of this theory, I made the observation that a huge number of Fazbear Fright stories have a theme.
I mean, he could be, but like... Actually, no, he can't be, because Michael looks like him. Never mind. I can understand why you would think that,
It
though.
feels like it appears once in every book. The other massive theme that keeps recurring in these tales are single-parent households. Dads abandoning the family and just straight-up bad dads. Lots and lots of bad fathers. Up through the 8th book, 12 of 24 stories feature a single-parent home. Just to run through some quick examples, in the book Step Closer, there are 2 stories that have a dad up and leave the family. 1:35 a.m. is about a foster child that had an abusive foster dad. The New Kid, another abusive dad who left. The Cliffs is about a single dad losing his son. Breaking Wheel has the character Reed, who has a single dad who's, quote, trying his best. And in the short story What We Found, which is basically just a retelling of FNAF 3, Hudson loses his father when he takes his own life on account of mental illness, only to wind up with Lewis, yet another abusive stepfather. To me, this is not a coincidence. It's the books yet again trying to point our attention to a common theme in the game, that Afton may not be the father that we've assumed he was this entire time. At this point, we're fairly certain that the orange guy from the FNAF 6 minigame Midnight Motorist is Purple Guy, who is also William Afton.
And not Mrs. Afton. Yes, somebody believes that.
And we see that he's far from a caring and compassionate father, banging on doors, yelling at his son, making threats. Shock of all shocks, a guy who moonlights by kidnapping kids and running experiments on their remnant soul juice isn't a father you want to go into the backyard and play catch with. Whoa, who would have saw that one coming? But the fact is, the books seem to be alluding to another layer in this, that he isn't actually Crying Child or Elizabeth's biological father. It would explain why Baby in both the Silver Eyes trilogy and Fazbear Frights feels a cold distance from her dad. Not just that he's lost in his work, but that he's not interested in her outside of what she can do for his experiments. That might be why he actually prefers Henry's daughter to his own. It might also explain Afton's relationship with the Crying Child, how we've suspected for a while that Afton might have been running experiments on him, torturing him with animatronics and supervising him with surveillance cameras from his underground office. To go one step further, remember that
That's
story
Michael's
of Hudson,
room,
whose
so
dad took his own
nah.
life? Well, Henry in both Silver Eyes and...
Maybe the bite victim saw the nightmare animatronics and was experimented on with them, but not in FNAF 4, and not in that bedroom, because that's... Mike is the player of FNAF 4, and that's Mike's bedroom, so...
FNAF world is shown to take his own life, and Hudson in the Fazbear Fright story is a very clear parallel for Michael Afton. So, could Michael Afton have started as Henry's son, only to wind up as William's stepson? Think back to the Sister Location cartoons.
Clara, the baby isn't mine.
An undying vampire in purple repeatedly saying, "He's not my son," in between every night of that game. I mean, it is a big swing when it comes to theories, but I think there's at least some interesting parallels there to consider. Supporting this, we've also yet to see any adult females in the Afton household. Now, I've speculated that Bellora's song is about a wife leaving her husband when he can't escape his own grief, but who knows? That song could be related to Henry's grief at the loss of his daughter Charlie. In the original novels, we're shown that Charlie dies, and that Henry loses his mind with grief, leading him to eventually take his own life. What if the line about an empty tomb isn't William's sadness, but rather a song about Henry's? And that in the aftermath of his death, his kids go to William, his partner. Oh yeah, speaking of Charlie, did you know that the puppet's name officially was Coils the Clown for a while? It's true. In the story Jump for Tickets, we're introduced to a character named Coils the Clown who, quote, has a lanky body with lemon and lime stripes. It has long arms, 3 fingers, and a face that looks like a crescent moon that turns upside down when it's sad. And just like the security puppet in the game, Coils the Clown is canonically responsible for roaming around the restaurant looking for intruders and gets sad when a child dies accidentally on his watch. Again, like everything with all the books, there's definitely some changes that have been made, but the thought of the puppet having...
Boy, what the hell are you talking about? Okay, Coils does have some similarities with the puppet, and I think he's supposed to, and he's supposed to have similarities with the puppet, and supposed to be a version of the puppet, but his design is very clearly meant to be Ennard, not the puppet. I think, I made a whole video on this, you guys can check that out, but like, I theorized that the Ennard, pre-Ennard, the one that the mask belongs to, is actually a fun time puppet. That's kind of the theory that I had, and his name is Coils, I guess. But yeah, just puppet is not Coils.
Being funny like Coils the Clown made me pretty happy, even though it was a small thing. So there you have it, friends. 3 more theories to chew on down in the comments below and on the Game Theory subreddit. You can bet that I will be reading all of your thoughts, so make sure you keep them coming. I don't know if any of these will lead to massive lore revelations, but hey, they were things that I thought were at least worthy of calling out and thinking about. And all of this is without even mentioning the stuff that's happening around Security Breach. I mean, have you seen the new images coming out of their secret website? It's pretty terrifying.
Made a video on that
Still
yesterday.
Early days to be sure over there, which is why I didn't want to comment on any of that yet, but you can bet that we're starting to get close to the actual release of a game in this game franchise. FNAF season is upon us yet again, and finally I'll have a game to talk about rather than more books. So stay safe and watch out for any misfiring animatronics tied to security databases. In the meantime, remember, it's all just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. You know, we joke about it a lot on the channels, but FNAF really has taken over my life. I mean, if I'm not gonna scour all 10 Fazbear Frights books for lore the second they're released, then who's gonna? Recently, though, I've been trying to broaden my horizons by
That's what I do, man.
Isn't FNAF related. I know, shock of all shocks. I'm actually dipping my toe into the world of modern independent cinema. You know, things like Willy's Wonderland, the Banana Splits movie. Oh, shoot. Well, Haunted Pizzeria Inspired, not today's sponsor, NordVPN is here to...
Okay, I don't care. So... First theory, nah. Second theory, maybe. I mean, Sister Location is not before FNAF 2. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's 100% after FNAF 1. I think Henry basically tells us that for a fact. But having that be Henry that made like the wooden animatronics or whatever, that's possible, but yeah, William is definitely Michael's father. That's basically a fact. Although there's some evidence that he's not, and that he's a stepfather or an adopted father or whatever, he's very clearly Michael's father, considering they look alike. And I don't think Scott would just make it a coincidence that these two characters look alike when they're father and son, even if they're not biologically related. Like, Scott would not do that. Like, that would be really stupid. But yeah, also, it's not that William was shutting Elizabeth out. He was mostly just like trying to keep her away from baby, to keep her from dying. He wasn't just shutting her out. And I don't really think William cares about his kids that much. I just think he cares about them enough to not want them to die. And that's pretty much the extent of it. But, yeah. Again, Sister Location is not before FNAF 2. It's not before FNAF 1. It is after FNAF 1. And if you think otherwise, whatever, watch my timeline. I explain exactly why that's not the case. And why it is after FNAF 1. But whatever, that's a different topic. That's not relevant to this theory. This game theory video, I mean, as always, I enjoyed watching it, but the actual theories, yeah. Only one of them was true, but only in a couple ways. Like, only in a few ways, and only kind of possibly. And it's not really guaranteed. It's only one of the theories is possible, like 50-50. I don't know. And only like half of it is 50-50. So like yeah, I think you guys, hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. Okay, half of this, one of these theories, half of it has half a chance of being right. If you guys understand what I'm saying. But yeah, I enjoyed the video. I didn't really like the theories. I didn't think they were all that good. I feel like the problem with these videos is that he crams them into too little time and doesn't spend enough time giving evidence for them, even if they are bad theories. Like, he should, like, which they are, but like, he should go more in depth with it, rather than just like cramming it into 17 minutes. But yeah, whatever. I'm gonna end the video there. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. ImpulseEvan out, and peace.